Hey friend! Welcome back to another episode of A Safe Space with Kai. So today's episode right now, we are going to Whole Foods. So I started a little series on TikTok. I think I told y'all about this a little bit in some capacity somewhere on the interwebs. And two things you should know. My car makes this noise. There's some piece that's loose in my air conditioner. So just thank you. Anyway, so I started a series on Whole Foods, at Whole Foods, about things that I love at Whole Foods because that's where I work. And it has blown up beyond anything I could have ever thought of or anticipated. So today I'm about to go swing past Whole Foods and grab a few things, and we're going to do episode 3 on TikTok. So if y'all aren't following me on TikTok, definitely make sure that you're following me because we're having some fun and catching a vibe over there. I like TikTok. I feel like Instagram, honestly, at this point in my life, I feel like Instagram is just for the vibes. Like Instagram is my Tumblr, if you will. Like I really don't care how people engage with it. I really could care less. Like Instagram, I just show up, and when I remember, like I have to make a conscious thought process in my mind to open the app. I'm not just mindlessly opening up Instagram and scrolling all day. I low-key barely ever get on the gram these days. So anyway, yeah, we got some fun things going on the TikToks, and today's episode, you can't really see me that good, but today's episode, which I am super excited to get into in a little bit, is all about the root of it all. Oh my gosh, wait, why did I just choke? Okay. The root of it all is really fear, like the control, the not showing up in the fullness of our lives, all of the things. So I'm not even gonna talk about it anymore. We're gonna get into it right now. Can you see me? I gotta come closer for you to really be able to see. Oh, perfect. We got action. Okay. Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Self-Care with Kai. Why do I keep saying that? That's not what it's called. Okay. Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of A Safe Space with Kai. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're listening to my voice on podcasts, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, just know that I love you, I appreciate you, and I'm super excited for the topic we're going to get into today. And if you're watching me on YouTube, hi, hey girl. I'm really loving this format of having the visual component but still keeping it YouTube style instead of going all the way podcast. I'm enjoying it. So I'm really excited to hear the feedback from how you all receive it. Hopefully the lighting is okay and all the things. But so in today's episode, we are talking all things nervous system regulation, control, different practices that help me to kind of stay calm, manage this anxiousness, and also settle in more so to trusting and leaning in and allowing life to unfold as it does, because what I have learned is that the root of it all is fear. Okay, so let's just break this down real quick. So the other day I was in the house and I had a divine download, if you will. I was doing some shadow work, just thinking around why was I having so much struggle trusting God fully in this season of my life, right? And if you're not familiar, I have been on a journey of growing and evolving, discovering myself, prioritizing well-being, all of the things. But I've also been through a lot, as many of us have in my lifetime, that kind of led me up to this space where I really felt called to deepen and grow with God. I really felt called to understand on a deeper level what purpose I was put here to live out. And more than understand it, offer myself up as an offering and give my vessel up, I should say, as an offering so that I could fulfill the purpose that God brought me here for, okay? I feel like I have lived like 25 lives in one lifetime at the tender age of soon to be 27. And so I feel like it's a lot. It is a whole lot. And so as I was sitting with myself, just kind of really trying to understand, like, why is it that I want to believe that things will get better? I want to believe my reality is going to change. I'm saying that I believe, but I don't really, like deep in my spirit, really believe. Like, what's going on here? Where is the disconnect? And what I came to understand through, again, just that self-reflection and just stillness and just asking myself these different questions, being present and still to hear what God was trying to tell me, what I came to understand is that I basically was calling myself trusting God and trusting the plan over my life, trusting the direction that my life was going in, but I was still somewhere trying to control. So to give y'all a more practical sense, in this job economy of it all, which honestly, I hate talking about the job economy, mainly because of the fact that it's not my dream, and I don't feel like it's most people's dream to work for somebody, right? So it's a sticky subject in and of itself, because at the end of the day, we need money to be able to survive, to pay our bills, to live our lives, to get us in, to get you in the door, to be able to make more money. You need to have an income, right? So I'm in this season of working at Whole Foods, and I was having this tug of war situation going on internally, just being really upset, feeling like, why is it that I'm applying for all of these jobs? And why is it that I am either being told no, I'm getting ghosted, I'm not getting any responses? Like, I just don't understand. I'm doing all the things. I'm tweaking the resume. I'm doing all of the things, right? And what I feel God so lovingly had to remind me is that I was still trying to be in control. And this is where the unraveling occurred. So as I'm thinking about this, I feel like if you could kind of see it from a visual perspective, I'm a very visual learner. I feel like before I was in the driver's seat, just doing whatever Kyrah wanted to do, not thinking about no repercussions, not thinking necessarily about who it was impacting or if it was in alignment with the bigger picture of my life. Like, I would think about it sometimes, but for the most part, I'm just vibing, just doing what I want to do, coming and going as I please, right? Very young, very typical human worldly experience. Then I started to really want to grow and deepen with God through my different life experiences as my parents both transitioned. I've talked about this a little bit, but my dad transitioned in 2020, and I feel like that's when I first started to kind of hear the call of, what is this really all about, and what am I actually supposed to be doing? But I kept doing what I wanted to do. And then my mom passed away in 2023, like a little over a year and a half ago. And that was when it all came tumbling down, because God had brought me down to a point where it was like, no more running, no more outrunning me, right? And I was really, really wrestling with that. I should also mention, as I just mentioned about the job market of it all, I should also point out that I was laid off, furloughed, but really laid off from my full-time role as a marketer, as a social marketer, all within the same, like, I was laid off on a Friday. That following Monday or Tuesday was when my mom's health started to take a turn that ultimately ended up in her transitioning like 10 days later or something like that. So it was a lot. It was a lot. March of 2023 was a lot for me, because it was just, life had just became so real at such a high level so quick. And I felt like my survival was very much in question, right? And so to bring it all back full circle to what I was mentioning earlier, I'm in this like tug of war situation with God, because I'm like, I'm in survival mode. I don't know if I've ever totally left survival mode. Even when I do my best to work through it, my nervous system is constantly on survival mode, because my nervous system is thinking that everything is life or death. And here I am in this situation where I'm struggling to make ends meet financially, and where I'm not in the financial situation that I used to be able to be fully independent in the way that I feel that I need to be. And I just was so frustrated, because it's like, I'm capable, I'm qualified, I'm doing all the things, nothing is working, and I'm just frustrated. Like, God, like, what's tea? Like, why can't you help me? You see me out here, why can't you help me, right? And so what was revealed to me as I'm kind of going through this process of just this unraveling, even honestly before I got to that point, as I'm going through this process and sitting with myself and doing this shadow work, what was revealed to me is that I'm always trying to control something, because the little girl in me went through some experiences in her childhood that made it hard for her to trust the adults that were supposed to keep her safe. And I always was worried about whether or not I would be able to survive something, and whether or not we were going to be okay, and whether or not things were going to be okay, like on an emotional level, on a financial level. And so I feel like as a result, I'm just constantly in control. I'm constantly in control. And so I'm constantly trying to do things my way because that's all I've ever known how to do. When the world felt like it was falling apart when I was a kid, when my world, I should say, felt like it was falling apart when I was a kid, I just clung and clung and clung and just did the best I could to figure it out. And I also took on a lot more responsibility, and I became a lot more aware of things at a very young age that a child should not be exposed to. So my survival, and sometimes people around me's survival, came in question in a very real way that caused me to go into super control mode. Super nervous system is constantly on fight or flight, like constantly. It's never turning off. And through this whole experience, what I came to understand as I'm doing this reflection, like I said, is that I had always been in a space of trying to control my situation. And for a long time, I was able to do really well at controlling my situation. And then I hit this corner and I hit this season in my life where I'm seated at currently, where I have no control. Control is fake anyway, because we really don't have all the control that we think we have. But before, I could apply, I could get the job, I could network, I could do my thing because it's just who I am, right? I had the capacity to be able to do those things and move and shake. And this season of my life, God shut it all the way down, okay? I'm talking all the way down. And so here I am trying to understand, because it's like, I'm trying to trust you and I'm trying to trust your plan for my life, God. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to not operate in survival mode, right? I'm trying to allow myself to kind of be at peace, but my survival is in question and I don't feel safe. I don't feel like things are going to work out. And so I'm doing my best to believe and have faith, and I'm doing my best to truly believe that things are going to get better, but it's just like things are not getting better and nothing I'm doing is working, and all of these things, right? Super frazzled energy. And as I said, as I sat with that and peeled all the layers back, like, why am I always trying to control everything? What I realized is that it's fear. It's fear. And fear manifests in so many different ways for each of us. Fear manifests in ways with our careers. Fear manifests with people who are parents, or, if you're a young person navigating the world with your parents. It shows up everywhere in friendships, in the relationships we choose, and the decisions that we make, and it manifests differently. So I was experiencing at the time a whole lot of anger, and I'm not a person who is really angry. I've never been an angry person. I don't like the way that anger feels in my body. The best way I could describe it is like, to me, anger feels like lava, and I don't like the way that it feels inside of my body. So I have built an identity. I built my case, okay, on being nonchalant. And I think I wrote a newsletter about this, actually, about vulnerability being our superpowers and how I was queen of nonchalant. You could ask anybody that knew me growing up. The number one word they would have used to describe me is nonchalant. Like, that's no exaggeration. And so I say all this to say that I was in this space of experiencing anger and being frustrated and confused because I'm not used to experiencing anger, and I'm used to being able to kind of turn this off. And there was only a specific set of experiences in my life that had the capacity to take me to a very angry place that I just don't live in that part of my mind because it's not safe there. So again, Shorty's a control freak, okay? She's a control freak in healing. Thank you very much. And so I'm like, no, I'm not going to allow myself to feel these feelings. So now that all these things are coming true and I have no control over it, I'm like, yo, like, what is happening with my life right now? Like, I just kept feeling like, what is going on? And sure enough, right under that control and right under that anger and that frustration of the littlest things ticking me off, things that shouldn't even be making me mad and things that I shouldn't even be feeling this way about or giving a reaction to, I'm mad, and I'm big mad. And it's like, because I'm scared. The little girl in me is scared for her life because everything felt like it was fight or flight. Everything felt like it was life or death. So now when the smallest inconvenience happens, or me being in an uncomfortable season, and when something kind of triggers me being reminded about that, I'm scared. But it's coming out like I'm mad. It's coming out like I'm frustrated. I'm discouraged. I'm trying to control. But really, sis is scared, okay? And I'm just learning day by day, like I said, that the root of it all is fear. And I think when I came into the awareness about the way that fear was running my life, it set something free on the inside of me, because I had been struggling and I had been holding and kicking and screaming and fighting and doing all of the things to make my situation change. And it just doesn't work that way. Because when you really commit to this walk with God, and it's crazy I'm even saying this, because I really never thought that I would be the girl that was like, God, 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 God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never thought that I was going to be that girl. I've always loved God. I've always been in deep connection with God. So it's not like a super shocker or a secret. I just didn't think that so much of my life and the things that I want to share and have and contribute would revolve around my relationship with God. But anyway, one thing about it, God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. Thank you. So what I realized is, here I am in this season, and I'm scared, and I'm trying to control everything, because it's like, okay, I need to move back on my own. I need to get a better job. I'm calculating, like, in order to be able to live on my own, I need to get caught up on debt, and I need to make this much money so that I can manage to pay this amount of bills a month, and I need to do this and this and this and this and this. And then I'm trying to do all of these job applications. I'm trying to do everything I possibly can, and nothing is working. Okay? Schnada. Nothing is working. And I'm like, like, I'm not used to not getting my way. This is very new to me, and I'm not used to it at all. And honestly, it's scary. Okay. It's what's tea? Like, it's giving very uncomfortable and very scary fear. And so, yeah, as I'm in this space of starting to peel those layers back, what I'm doing is just nurturing myself and mothering myself day by day. Because something that I want to share with y'all before we wrap this up is that when we have these awareness moments, when we have these light bulbs go off on our healing journey, on our growth journey, or just on our, journey of self-discovery, it's not some immediate overnight switch like, okay, boom, so great, I figured out that fear is the root of why I'm not able to put my full faith and put my full trust and my whole all 10 toes in believing that God has a plan for me and things are going to be okay, and now everything's just magically better. Like, for some people that might be their reality, but I think a lot of times we got to work this thing out, okay? And so I want to share with y'all some practical, quick things that I am doing to help regulate my nervous system, and maybe they'll be something that you're able to resonate with and connect to as well if you're on this journey. If you're somebody who has been through a lot of trauma, like big T and little t trauma in your life, and you feel like you're constantly scared, you're constantly worried, you're constantly acting out of impulse, you're constantly like stuck between this very real survival mode, worried about if your needs are going to be met or things like that, right? This is healing for the child in you. This is healing for the adult that you are, for the teenager in you, for the woman, for the man that you're going to become, for the wife and husband and parents that we are going to be, or we already are. So really quick, nervous system regulation. First and foremost, I'm going to say breathing is so important, right? We talk about breathing all of the time, but breathing is really, really important, especially when I feel myself going up in that tizzy type of state. I do my best to breathe. I'll do 3 deep breaths. I'll make sure I'm listening to super calming music, like different flute instruments, sound vibrations, calm music. I don't even want to hear words. So that really helps me. Another thing that I want to share with y'all is essential oils. Now, I have tried a whole bunch of things when it comes to navigating the anxiety, regulating the nervous system, doing all the things. I have tried so much. And what's worked for me really well is essential oils. Other things I've tried, like I said, I love a good Mary Jane moment, okay? I spent a lot of time smoking weed as a way to kind of cope with anxiety and things of that nature, but we're evolving. We want to be able to really not have to go into a different mental state to get some relief, right? So, some things that I absolutely love. If you're watching me on YouTube, then you're already going to be able to see this. This grounding blend by Drika. This is an essential oil roller ball. This right here has jojoba oil, lavender oil, frankincense oil, amyris, geranium, and vetiver. I think the vetiver, if that's how you say it, I think that is one of the key oils that's really been healing to me. And I put this on my wrist. I put it behind my ears, and it just has such a beautiful cooling and calming sensation. Like when I breathe it, I promise you, it just brings my nervous system back down from manic. And then I also wanted to share these 2 rare beauty products that I have from the Fine Comfort line. So I have the hand cream here, the hydrating hand cream from the Fine Comfort line, and this also has vetiver in it. I don't have the full ingredient list in front of me, but this hand cream, I promise y'all, I've been using it, and I actually got it in my bloom bag at Fully Bloomed Fest when I spoke on the panel a few months ago. But I put this hand cream on my hands and rubbed it in, and I could still smell the aroma, and I promise you, it just does something for the spirit. And then they also have the Stop and Soothe aromatherapy pen. This aromatherapy pen has changed my life, okay? So if you take nothing else from this video, essential oil is your best friend. Aromatherapy is very healing. And the body is keeping the score. And we got to do the best we can to keep her calm, to keep her serene, to keep her at peace. Because listen, sis, it ain't got to be like this, okay? It really don't got to be like this. We can have a more easeful experience in our bodies and in our nervous systems. And we can heal that root of fear, but we have to figure out what tools to put in our toolkit to help us be able to get there and just make the journey a little bit easier. The sun moved, so I just moved a little bit. Another thing that has helped me with regulating my nervous system, especially as I'm working on healing this root of fear in my life so that I can lean into faith and lean into belief and lean into truly trusting and believing that the life that God has planned for me is 10 times better than I can imagine, and it's not as traumatic and hard as the life that I have lived thus far. On that same theme, prayer and meditation have been absolute lifesavers for me. I don't know why I didn't say this at the beginning. I'm not going in any particular order, but y'all, when I say prayer and meditation has done wonders for me, and not one or the other, a combination of both, okay? They say that prayer is when we speak to God and meditation is when we allow ourselves to listen and for God to speak to us. And I think it's so true. Meditation for me really, really, really helps with nervous system regulation and with healing that root of fear, especially for people who struggle with anxiety and just feelings of anxiousness and that fidgetiness and things of that nature. I feel like meditation can be hard when you're first starting because you think that you need to do it a certain way, or you think that you need to get still enough or not have any thoughts on your mind or whatever the case may be. But first of all, none of that is true. It's a practice just like any other thing. So you just kind of start where you are. But the thing that's really helpful for me with meditation is the breathing. Those breathing techniques of taking full belly breaths and holding it and then slowly releasing it. It's just easeful, right? Like there's just an ease to it, and there's just a flow that every time I breathe out, I can breathe a little bit lighter. Every time I breathe in and allow myself to be reminded that, okay, sis, you're still alive, lungs are still working, everything's working, okay, you're okay. And then when I breathe out, it's just been so therapeutic for me. And so I would encourage anybody who is on this journey of healing the root of fear. As you keep hearing me say, I'm healing the root of fear, and I'm being super intentional about the words that I'm using, because you got to heal the root so that the tree can be stable. Ain't that what they say? Something like that, right? So yes, meditation has been incredible for me. Guided meditations are great. You can also listen to meditation music. Sound baths and listening to sound baths has also worked wonders for me. And listen, everybody, you may resonate with some things and other things you may not, and that's totally okay. But as for me and my nervous system, a sound bath will do wonders for me and just allowing me to feel like I can breathe easier and just putting me in more of a relaxed state. And when your entire nervous system and your body lives in fight or flight, that's how we get dis-ease in our bodies. That's how you get sick, right? That's how we end up with different ailments and autoimmune diseases, and you got headaches all the time, and you can't sleep, and your back hurts and your shoulder hurts. I know all about it, okay? And so I feel like taking that time to really settle in and allow my spirit to just hear the most subtle noises, that's like wind chimes and easeful things, have really, really been helpful for me. And then, of course, prayer. I think there's something so special and so sacred about being able to evolve in your self-development journey, to where instead of picking up the phone to call a friend or to call another person, you might call your parents or your sister or whoever, to share with them, and so you can hear somebody's feedback, being able to pray. There's something so sacred about it, because it's like laying all my cares at the feet of the Lord, like laying all of my troubles and all of my worries. Let me just lay them down. I can't carry this. I cannot carry this. My back is broke. Okay. Cannot carry it. It hasn't gone well for me so far, carrying all my worries and troubles on my own. So praying and just being in communication with God, right? Being in constant fellowship with God, and first just expressing gratitude. I'll kind of run y'all through how I pray. I'm not nobody's prayer expert. I'm just a girl out here trying to grow. Okay. I first express gratitude. I go down the list of things that I'm grateful for. That's another thing that I do, not necessarily in the prayer space, but another thing I do when I'm having those anxious moments and when I'm feeling out of control and spiraling a little bit, I will force myself to go down the list of things that I'm grateful for, and I will not stop until I feel myself starting to kind of settle down a little bit. Sometimes that might be 3 things. Sometimes it might be 10. Sometimes it's going to be as many as it takes until I can get my mind to stop spinning so fast. But back to prayer. So I always start out with gratitude and just thanking God for all that He has blessed me with so far. I take time to apologize and repent for any areas where I have fallen short, choices that I have made that I know are not in the best interest, areas that I just have fallen short. I make sure to take time to humble myself and apologize for those things. And I used to feel very like ick when I heard about repentance. I used to feel like, what is this? Repent. Like, that sounds crazy to me now, but I really used to feel like that, because it's just like, why you got to make me feel so bad? Like, I'm such a flawed human being and blah, blah, blah. Like, why I got to be apologizing? It's like, because we fall short every day. And when you become aware of just how much impact you have in the world and how much impact the decisions we make, how they impact ourselves internally and how they impact the world around us, the people watching us, the people we're in community with, it matters. It really matters. So yes, I take time to express gratitude, and then I go through, like I said, repenting. And then I also just lay anything that I might be going through and anything that I might be feeling at the feet of God. So I will just tell God, like, I'm trying to figure this situation out. I'm trying to figure out how to trust you. I talk to God like a regular person. I'm really working on understanding how to trust you better, and I really feel scared, and I just feel like I'm so capable, and I'm frustrated, and I don't understand why my situation isn't changing, and I just lay it all out. I lay it all out. I don't hold anything back, and I think that it's something so beautiful because it helps build our relationship with God. And I always ask God to speak to me in a language that I can understand. I feel like something else that kept me from really deepening in connection and deepening in devotion was the fact that so oftentimes in the church and in the world of religion, we're told that things need to look a certain way. You hear people talk or speak, or this, New King James Version and all these different things. And it's just like, it would go over my head. And I just would feel like somebody was talking at me rather than the fact that somebody was talking to me. And so one of my biggest prayers is that I ask God to speak to me in a language I can understand, so I can receive it. Send me signs and ways that I can understand. Help me to grow and evolve and deepen, and help me to become aware and aligned, and help me to be able to get still enough so that when you're answering a prayer, I can see it in real time. Help me to be obedient. When you ask me to do something, or when you give me guidance to do something, help me to be obedient and not question and need it to make sense and need it to make dollars and cents and all this logical, all the things. Allow me to just say, okay, I get the divine download that I need to make this video. Let me just get up and record it. I get the divine download that I should work on this project. Let me write it down. I get the divine download that I should give this money out of my pocket to somebody. Let me just do it. I just want to say yes. I just want to say yes. I don't want to have any wiggle room for me trying to make things make sense, me giving myself space to second guess. Because again, I think as we're deprogramming the subconscious fear and the way that the brain is really coded in fear, and the nervous system is kind of hardwired that way, as I'm deprogramming and as I'm working on unprogramming that. I think a huge portion of that is being able to trust God and for God to be able to trust me. Like, I can say that better. Being able to be trusted, because then I get answers quicker. And I don't mean it in terms of like a transactional, like I'm trying to get something out of this. I just mean in a way where, like, when I spend time in prayer and when I spend time in meditation and when God reveals something to me and when I act with a swift obedience and I get on it and I don't think too deep into it, and then I'm able to see in real time that prayer, I'm able to hear those whispers of God because I'm still enough and I'm not running from myself like I spent so much time doing when I was in my control and in my fear bag. That's how I'm building the trust. That's how I'm building the muscle of faith. I think the opposite of fear is faith. And so how we build that muscle of faith is just by taking the acts of faith. When you hear the call, say yes. Let God show you. Allow God the space to show you how good it can get. Allow God the space to show you what it is that he wants you to do in this season of your life. Allow God to reveal to you that everything is for a reason and everything is working out for your good. Be present enough and be humble enough to receive that. And so I could go on and on about this, but I think we'll wrap it up here. I don't want to make this too long. If you want to have more conversations around the nervous system reprogramming of it all, around healing from childhood trauma, around growing in faith and what that looks like in a practical, non-traditional way, from human to human with no judgment in the safe space, let me know. I'm happy to share more about it. That's what this safe space is all about. At the end of the day, being able to be in fellowship with one another and be able to be connected and supportive to each other on our journeys and have safe space to share what our journeys look like, regardless of if my journey looks different from yours, right? I am not ever, never, God is my witness, I am in no judgment of how somebody connects with the Most High or how somebody grows and evolves or what areas you're getting stuck at or what you've been through or what you're struggling with. I want people, when you see me and when you interact with me, I said this before, but this is the God's honest truth. I want to be a safe space for people to feel like they can be fully themselves. And in order to do that, that requires us and me as the host of this content and this series to be fully honest and authentic and vulnerable. And so I feel like if I can share some of the things that I have struggled with, some of the things that I'm working through, to be able to be of service to the collective, to help bring us up and help us feel safe to be ourselves and safe to say, hey, like, I struggle with having faith too, or hey, like, I went through a lot in my childhood too and it's ruining my life. Like, I want you to feel safe in that. And I want you to know that you're supported. I want you to know that your creator loves you, okay? And that you were brought here for a reason and a purpose with an intention, and that your life matters. Your life matters, okay? It matters. And it's not about the big, grand, doing the most things. It's just about starting where you are and taking up space. And I feel like it just matters. And I want you to know that. I want you to know that you are loved. I want you to know that you are seen, heard, valued. And I want to be able to continue the journey together. So that's about it for today's episode of A Safe Space with Kai. I love y'all so deep, and I thank you so very much for tuning in. Make sure that you rate this podcast if you're listening to it on a podcast streaming platform. Make sure that you like it, comment, subscribe, all the things. If you're over here on YouTube, if you want to see my beautiful face, come hang out with me on YouTube. And yeah, let's continue to just journey together. Let's continue to tell the truth, to seek the truth, and to be safe spaces to grow and heal and evolve together. Love y'all. Bye.